Welcome back, everybody. You are tuned into the Now Morning Show right here on TTT. We're also on Talk City 91.1 FM and streaming live on Facebook at TTT Live Online. Now, we went from one business conversation to another, and there could be some links between them. With me to chat about that this morning is Derek Lockpat, Executive Director of the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards. With me as well is Felicia Thomas, who is the Standards Officer 3 of the same. We're going to speak about 100 years of quality, and this is based on a worldwide commemoration of quality in business. So thank you for joining me this morning and welcome.
Happy to be here.
Thank you very much for having us.
So World Quality Day 2019, which is commemorated today, the 14th of November. What is being done by the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards to commemorate this?
Well, first of all, what the World Quality Day is meant to recognize the practitioners in the industry. So we want to use the opportunity to wish all the practitioners in Trinidad and Tobago, particularly our team at the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards, World Quality Day. We wanted to use this opportunity to highlight the National Quality Policy. It's a document that has been approved by Cabinet in April 2018,
right,
and it really brings to life the government's plan to utilize what is called the National Quality Infrastructure.
Okay.
So the Bureau of Standards is a key part of that. So imagine you have this asset that you can grow and build the country on. It is about taking that live. And part of our role here today is to make the connection about what we do, as mundane as it may sound, to how it applies to yourself, to your family, to businesses, to industry on the whole, towards socio-economic prosperity.
So tell me, what is the general expected result of the National Quality Policy?
You're looking at things broadly improved economic growth, but within the context of quality. It's not about growing at any cost. So we have a mandate as the TTBS for health, safety, and environment. So we're looking at balancing economic growth within the context of quality in the interest of the citizenry. So it's something that should be sustainable.
Right.
So we look at products in the construction industry. We're looking at the fuel sector. We're looking at even toys. So we look at products that, in particular, that are important to the country for growth, but also for use consumption within Trinidad and Tobago as well. So there's a lot of focus in that area.
Now, there's a lot of there are a lot of products that we get here. Our imports are very heavy. What does it have in the policy that would affect our export as pertains to quality?
So we're working very closely with our local manufacturers to implement quality systems because we are in a global landscape. You're competing literally across the world. So the rules of the game are embellishing standards and global standards. We're full members of ISO, International Standards Organization. So therefore our standards, which underpin the products, the specifications of products, through processes, local manufacturing processes, to be able to compete in the global stage.
Right.
That's the part we're playing. So we're working very closely with TTMA and its members, key manufacturers, to be able to help them compete. And this is not only for the large local manufacturers. We're looking at the small emerging entrepreneurs as well.
And we want to include the service providers as well, because standards not only apply to actual
goods,
physical products, but it applies to the services. So that services is something that is exported right here, so that you have service providers that are providing services internationally. And you want to make sure that those service providers are able to do so sustainably and consistently, and that is key.
And in your role as Standards Officer 3, what would you say is your take on the current quality of services here in Trinidad and Tobago?
The thing is, you have different levels, and many people think that standards, when you reach the standard, you've attained something.
Right.
But the standards are really the floor. They're really the basis for common understanding.
I like how you said that.
You know, so that you use the standards as a platform to innovate and to prove to your customers that you can excel.
Right.
So what we want to do is encourage the local manufacturers, service providers, exporters to become involved in the national quality policy implementation, to engage with us, engage with the Ministry of Trade, so that they could build in quality into their processes. And it not only applies to the private sector, but to the public sector
Public
as well.
sector as well.
Yes.
That is very important what you said there, involving public sector, because this national quality policy is outlined, and approved by the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and as such, it should be, it starts at home. Home meaning the public sector and the things that are controlled by the government themselves.
Absolutely, and we at the Bureau aren't on a podium preaching. We are actually using the actual tools to make ourselves better and hold ourselves to higher standards, because we understand that we also play a lead role, so therefore we need to lead by example.
Right.
So we hold our own people, processes to that standard. And of course, we are work in progress as well.
Right.
But as Felicia mentioned a little while ago, standards sometimes are misunderstood to be a bar that is difficult to achieve. They're actually what they call minimum acceptable criteria. That's what it should be. And innovation should then be to go beyond the standards and therefore compete on quality as opposed to just price.
Right.
That's what we're looking
The
for.
thing is, what we want to do is build a culture of quality within Trinidad and Tobago, where your consumers, the general citizenry expects a quality product, a quality service, a quality process, right? As opposed to price, and they accept anything that goes.
What is the expected outcome of the broad implementation of the NQP, the National Quality Policy?
Well, in the actual policy, there is also an implementation plan. This plan takes us to 2030. So there are annual milestones to achieve, very specific projects targeting priority sectors and different activities. So you will hear different aspects of it as we go along. So for example, we're looking at what you will hear something about the accreditation, which gets a little confused with the accreditation in the education industry. But this is about holding testing laboratories, whether they be product tests, tests for food, medical, that type of thing. But what we're looking for, standards is about building trust. How do you trust that that test result upon which you're making either life-changing decisions or multi-million-dollar business decisions, how do you know that's correct? Behind all of that is a system. There's competency, there's equipment, there's facilities. This allows that to happen. And this is where the global players are at. So we need to be at the table. So therefore, this is why this policy is so important. And one of the key objectives we have is to translate this to the business community, to industry, to public sector, to the general public as well.
Right. So we would have hosted our National Quality Forum last week, and we would have used it as a vehicle to link the national quality policy to things like competitiveness and ease of doing business, of diversification of the economy, of the environment, about public sector service excellence and governance, so that people understand that it's not only about business, but it impacts on all facets of society.
Definitely. And again, today, happy World Quality Day 2019. Again, the theme 100 Years of Quality, and to share that information with us and to share what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago as pertains to quality, Derek Lockpat, Executive Director of the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards, Felicia Thomas, Standards Officer 3 of the same. Thank you for joining us this morning, sharing this wonderful information. And, let's see what the National Quality Policy is going to, the fruit that it will bring forward, moving forward. All right, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much for having us. And if you want to find more information, you can download the policy at the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards website or the Ministry of Trade's website.
All right, thank you very much. We take a short break and come right back. Stay with us.